and welcome to an all-new Marvelcast Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Oceanius and Uranus. My name is Ashley Hobley, the Explosion Network's resident 7,000-year-old being. Joining me today, Ultimate Kira Marchant.
Damn, finally we understand. You're an Eternal. This is all making sense now.
Yes, it does. Also joining us is the Dylan Blight.
Started this movie on Monday and it finished on a Wednesday. Or at least that's what it felt like.
Wow. Alright, so if you haven't worked it out, today we're talking about the latest MCU movie, Eternals.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
We need to find the others.
I haven't seen some of them for centuries.
Hi.
Hello.
This is what the end of the world looks like. At least we have front row seats.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
We have loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
Directed by Chloé Zhao, screenplay by Chloé Zhao, Patrick Burleigh, Ryan Firpo and Kaz Firpo, story by Ryan Firpo and Kaz Firpo, based on the Eternals by Jack Kirby, starring Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, Liam McHugh, Brian Tyree Henry, Lauren Ridloff, Barry Kian, Don Lee, Harish Patel, Kit Harington, Salma Hayek, and Angelina Jolie. The Eternals are a race of immortal beings with superhuman powers who have secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years, reunite to battle the evil deviants. Dylan, what did you think of Eternals?
From one of the writers of Peter Rabbit 2 comes Eternals.
The actor award nominated. No.
Yeah, actor award nominated. So it's a bit of alright, I guess. I don't know. It's a bit of a meh bag, I think. It's way too long. It really fucking drags. Several scenes drag way too long. Just overall, I feel like the pacing is just shit. The stuff I found most interesting was the little character stories between the Eternals themselves and their little personal growth and things they have between one another. And the stuff I found least interesting was the entire never-ending final act of the movie, at which I think I actually may have nodded off for a second. Now, I may be already tired today, but I definitely did nod off for a second and my eyes were closed and I did a whole like, oh.
Man, you must have missed the most important part that made it all worth it.
That's still happening. Yeah, I just think it's a bit, I honestly, I'm memeing a bit, but I don't hate it as much as I'm making it out to be, but also just don't think it's very good. I'm very much like, it's just a very middling movie. There are some really good moments. It's got really good visuals. Soundtrack's good. There are good characters. The acting is good for the most part, but I just think, like, as a movie, with everything combined, all powers combined, not a really strong start to this, like, new direction, I guess, for Marvel. And I mean, two people next to me after the second end credit scene, I think, went, "Oh, it's all worth watching that movie for that now." I'm like, okay, well, if that's the general takeaway. So, yeah, I would be sitting around a 5, I guess, if you want like a score.
Yeah. Okay. Kieran, what are your thoughts on the film?
I'm a bit of a mixed bag. I think I liked it more than Dylan liked it. I feel like there's
I
some
think
really
we're all going to like it more than Dylan liked.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's some really interesting ideas going on in this movie. I think there was too much going on for a 2 hours 45. I didn't even know what the ring time was. It was long though.
It's 100
6 hours and 87 minutes.
Oh, God.
It's 156 minutes. So an hour and a half and a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So
2 hours and a half. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like it was. There were some real good things about it. I wish the bits that didn't click for me were the flashback scenes. Like, I wish we just spent more time in the modern day with the characters than we did going back and watching flashbacks and watching different things that happened. Like, really, the only flashbacks that are super important is, cool, I get it, you start your opening scene, flashback 1, and then the one where they break up and they go their separate ways or whatever. That one, those two make super sense in terms of, like, the ancient history back. I think I really liked... For actually, one random comment. The fuck was, like... What is it with all the DC references in this movie? There was so many, like,
There's
Superman,
2.
Batman... There was 3? 2 of them were about Superman. But... Which is... I know it's normal for the comic books, but...
I think it's just a joke, yeah.
The
Yeah.
movies, and I guess it is, because when you look at the Eternals as a group, you could probably draw a number of similarities between them and members of the Justice League. But I don't know. I feel like I liked Icarus's character, and I could see where they were going for him. The moment that Ajax said that he has the most faith or whatever, I was like, oh well, he's going to be zealotous and turn on the rest of them in order to try and keep this thing going. But at the same time, don't really like how they panned out his story. I know we didn't see him die or perish or anything, but dude flew into the sun.
I know Superman flies to the sun all the time.
Superman does. Another thing where I was like, that's a Superman thing. He flew into the sun, so I really hope they don't... I don't know. I don't know how they rectify that, but at the same time, it's like...
It's fine. He can come back. They can just do some more flashbacks.
I think his character was left at the end of the movie in a really interesting position with him having to deal with the consequences of his actions, but then also his inability to be able to stop them from doing it and stop Cersei from doing it. Look, the biggest problem I have with this movie is their mishandling of the deviants and the whole deviant monster. Because when it became humanoid after killing Gilgamesh and it started talking, I was like, this is kind of interesting. A little bit close to Ultron, but I actually like where this is going. That this is trying to pretty much do the same thing that the Eternals are going to do. And then it kind of just, like, that petered out with Angelina Jolie needs a big moment for her character, overcoming her mental health issues with revenge or whatever, and it's like, okay, we kind of bottled this. This is the main villain, but we're swapping it out for somebody betraying, which Marvel have done now a couple of times, and I don't think it pans out very well at all during any of them. I think it wraps up in an interesting way. I think, one of the big things going into this movie was building was like, this has giant ramifications for the whole of the MCU going forward. And it does, but at the same time, this movie didn't feel like an MCU movie. Like, this felt like a movie that was trying to be, I'd almost want to say, a lot more mature and a lot more darker. Like, when the dude at the start, the caveman, gets eaten by that deviant, I almost said holy fuck out loud, because it was just...
It was kind of out of nowhere and unexpected.
Yeah, it was kind of out of nowhere.
I want to see someone edit in the run.
Like, it's just that. And, a number of characters, like, flat out die in this movie, which is... I guess we're getting more of that in the MCU now. Is this the first, even though it wasn't full-on of view, this is the first sex scene?
Yes.
Sex scene that the MCU's ever had, which I'm like, it's an interesting choice.
First sex scene, first same-sex kiss, or gay.
Did they kiss?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right, before it
when
left.
So first gay kiss, I guess, whatever word it as, and then first, like, full-on full on as far as you can get, I guess. Sexy.
I tell you
Yeah.
what, it's going to be really hard to edit out that relationship to make it not gay.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that in China. Yeah.
It's like,
Um,
I guess they
and
just
also
edit
first-
the partner out.
probably they would just cut that scene. Like they would imply that.
He just
they're
But I think
involved,
it
maybe.
isn't super obvious who that other man is in like the initial scene when
I think
he's
it is.
fixing
They're
the
walking
bike.
into the house. There's a kid. He's fixing a bike. He's playing. He goes, "Hey, Dad," and all this stuff. I'm like, I
No, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
He could be. He's a 7,000-year-old man. The other guy could be his kid as well.
Yes. Also, like that could be a stretch, but
Also, since we're here first, since you go for first, deaf actress / character or
Yep.
whatever you want to put that. Yeah,
it-
like she's actually dead. Like the actress was actually.
Is the actress
is
deaf as well? That's really
Yeah.
good. I like to. I did like it is the annoying thing. I did like how diverse this cast was. I just feel the cast probably need to be a little like there needed to be just less people. I just think there
That's
were.
what
Even
they
though
did.
it was,
They got rid of. That's what they did over the
killed two of
duration
them.
of the film.
But I feel like I don't even know what was the deaf lady's name, like her character's name, because
The Flash.
also the
Makarai.
Flash. She just kind of nobody spoke to her until it was like, oh hey, she's just randomly living on the ship.
Yeah.
It was just I just felt like there was too much going on. Kingra's kind of I actually appreciated that Kingra didn't come back and join in on that last fight.
Yeah.
Kingo didn't come back and join in on that last fight. But at the same time, it's like his character just kind of tails off, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of fruition for that character, other than the fact that he stood by his morals and he didn't go any further than that. Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag. It has its ups, it has its downs. It was really weird. I didn't realize who Kit Harington's character was. I spent the majority of the credits like googling his character and reading up about it a little bit without knowing that he was going to be the central part of the
Final.
second scene. But during the movie I was like, dude, this is real weird that you got Kit Harington to be a bit part in this movie. I thought he was going to be in this movie much more. It just I think this movie was just very ambitious. And of course, when it's that ambitious and try and do that much in that time frame, it's going to miss the mark on several points, and I feel like it did definitely.
Yeah. I think the best way to sum up this film is it kind of bit off more than it can chew. Obviously, the idea of the Eternals is like a big idea, and then you throw in the idea of Celestials on top of that, and Celestials coming out of the Earth in 6 days. It's like, that's a lot to process and a lot to fit in one
Also,
movie.
the fact that like no other superhero on this entire fucking
They're all
planet
dead, remember?
reacted.
They're all dead and elsewhere.
No.
If it's not in America, then it doesn't matter, apparently, you know?
Like even like I was like, man, Doctor Strange? Like this seems like something kind of strange,
Takes
right?
place at the
Like,
exact same time as No Way Home.
possibly.
Maybe. We'll get to that later, I think, but yeah, the a lot to like. I like a lot of the cast and stuff. I like Kumail Nanjiani and a lot of fun, and his valet. They had a lot of laughs and that kind of thing. I think, yeah, like you said, a lot of the interpersonal relationships were interesting. But yeah, it did feel kind of long, and that like final confrontation was kind of dragged out a little bit, and characters definitely go missing for large portions of the film. You know, it's weird that they have this like it's kind of a get the band back together kind of movie, but a lot of the band is missing for most of the movie, and like everyone isn't involved in the final confrontation, which is weird. Yeah, there's just a lot that they try to put in there, a lot of big ideas, and I don't think all of it lands. You know. It's especially when you've got this movie's got like two big reveals. I think obviously the big reveal that the Celestial is going to destroy the Earth. It's going to pop out like a baby and like destroy the mother. And
Sorry, instead of just maybe
It's
being
like-
like it's gonna like break out of like a chick breaking out of the egg,
like a spider
went
out of
for-
like when
Oh,
they stick them
God.
in the father, they
Oh,
lay the eggs in
God.
the dad and use the
Stop, pull out.
and then obviously Icarus being deciding not to go along with saving everybody. I didn't mind all the flashbacks and that kind of stuff. I don't think there was too many. Obviously some of them were important, like obviously the flashback to building up the Icarus-Cersei relationship. I think that was... Oh, and obviously the stuff at Babylon and that kind of stuff. But, yeah. But yeah. Let's go through, I guess, building the MCU. I'm sure we'll have some more talking points out of this.
It's a big movie for...
There's a lot of characters. Gemma Chan in a second role in the MCU. Playing Cersei. Interesting power set. Obviously, she can manipulate inanimate matter is her thing. But, she at the end there, she turns some rocks into some birds, doesn't she?
Thank you. I was also like, where's the rules for this character? Because
No,
that's
birds aren't
sentient
animate.
life she just created.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I'm glad they cleared up the bus thing from the trailer, though.
Yeah, where the bus driver went.
Yeah, because people were getting really worried about that.
Yeah, I really like Gemma Chan in this. I think she's sort of the best. She's the best person in the movie, like character and actress. I would say she's definitely the heart of the movie, the central character, and she's really likable from the outset. And like get you on board with her being someone who actually cares about humans and wants to do good. And she's definitely the character who gets the most time and you get the most attached to and everything. So yeah, if there's one character I would like to see continue, if I only had to pick one from this movie, I would be saying her.
Just fucking during that earthquake at the start of the movie, why did that kid get under the fossil?
It's a kid. It wasn't thinking.
But she was like, get under the tables, and all the other kids started getting under the tables.
What if a bully kicked her out? What if there was a bully in the class and we just didn't see it?
I'm sure they would have made a point out of it.
Not enough desks. Don't you know the British education system?
She was sat at a desk.
No, yeah, I think obviously she was really good. Like some of the CGI and stuff looked pretty good for her abilities and that kind of stuff as well. Especially her treeing a deviant, which I don't know if that's turning. I just assume she turned the water inside the deviant into a tree.
I am Groot.
Wow.
Oh god. I think it's an interesting choice. I guess we're talking Sammy about the end with her. I was like, oh, so they are leaving some characters behind to interact with the rest of the Avengers and the rest of the characters that we have on
Are they?
Cool. And then all of a sudden they're like, nope, scoop them up.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. So really, in the effect of like where it's like, I guess when with Shang-Chi, they immediately got Shang-Chi involved with the Avengers. With this movie just feels like it is so in its own perpetuity. Like it is just in its own little box and just doesn't really interact with anything until like kind of where it's going to be like, okay, your judgment's going to come back and give you judgment, and then the first after credits scene. It's just so much of this movie just seems to be just very in its own little bubble, even though it's a giant world-ending event, really, that's happening.
I mean, it's going to have a big effect on the MCU, just not Earth.
Well, yes.
Or potentially Earth, we don't know. Next up, we got Richard Madden as Icarus. Interesting depiction, Obviously a person who's had to live with a secret that everybody around him is going to die. So why should he care? And I think that's obviously kind of... I think it'll be interesting to watch this back after that reveal and see how his portrayal is before that.
I knew he was shady the entire time. Just look at the way he was acting. I knew something was up. Dodgy little fucker.
Dodgy little fuck.
I just assumed it because he ghosted her for 2,000 years.
Remember the red wedding? Yeah, do you want to be hired to do like the opposite? You'll betray someone now.
I mean, can we say how crazy the casting is that, her two loves are the two brothers from Game of Thrones?
And also that her name is Cersei, which is it's
spelled differently.
Yeah, but you don't say it and think about the spelling, do you? You just hear it.
That's right, Ciaran.
Fuck. Got me there.
He got you. Got your number.
Got me there pretty good, didn't
you? But yeah, I think they utilized him well. Obviously, he's got that Superman power set. Only thing he doesn't have is like super speed and ice breath. X-ray vision. That's about it.
I think, once again, his storyline is very akin to a Superman storyline. Almost kind of close to almost like the Injustice Superman storyline without his love dying. Like, it's more just him kind of sticking with the cause and going like a very kind of zealotous way. I think very early on I did have the inkling of this motherfucker killed Ajax. Like, I think there's something going on there, and I was right. I just wish it had dove a bit more into what he did for those 200 years and what the fuck was going on. Like, I'd much rather him have been like there'd be a little bit more context or a bit more discussion, other than they kind of have this semi-discussion outside where they're like, he's like, oh, I can't help you through this plan, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like inside, puts his suit on, and then he's like, alright, I'm gonna stop everything. Like, I'm gonna break everything. Instead of there being just a bit more character-driven conversation between the two of them. I probably would have preferred that a little bit more. But I think he does a good job, and I actually really liked Icarus for most of this movie.
Liked him as a character, or you agreed with
No, I really valued what he meant, Like, I was like, man, yeah, you've been sent here for a job, fucking follow that job through. Who cares if you raised all these things around you and protected them? Like, fuck it. No, it's an interesting take on him, and I like how he's written. I hope somehow he survives, because I think there's a lot to unpack with that character, and I don't like it kind of sending the message of, hey, if you do something and you can't deal with the consequences, go jettison yourself into the sun. I'm not a massive fan of that I personally feel like that's really lazy writing, and not a fan of the message it sends with that.
I mean, not many people will have the opportunity to send themselves into the sun, so I don't think there's too many issues there.
They're not going to literally do that, but it's a symbolic message that comes from it.
Alright, Dylan, do you have any thoughts?
It was alright. Power's boring. Bad guy. Yeah. Religion's bad, I guess.
It's kind of weird to see another...
I mean, that is the message of this film, isn't it? Don't believe in gods.
It's kind of weird coming off the fact that we've got this coming after, like, you've now seen, of course, Superman. Everybody's seen Superman, and we've all seen a number of different iterations of Superman. We've also, with the boys, you've got Homelander, which has the same set of abilities and the same kind of characteristics. And now you have Icarus in this movie. Like, I feel like it's just kind of retreading some of the same footsteps along the way with this kind of character setup.
Right. Next up, Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo. The Eternal, who can project cosmic energy projectiles from his hands. And
Finger guns.
Finger guns. Gotta love it. Yeah, I really loved his performance here, clearly the comic relief for the film, which was much needed, and, he's been a 5-generation Bollywood star. The greatest dynasty of all time. And he's got his priorities straight. He wants to make sure those people in his movie keep their jobs, Want
to answer your own question on Twitter to see if it, was it necessary for him?
I don't know if it was necessary for him to get super ripped, but because
I'm gonna vote no.
Why was there no shirtless Kumail Nanjiani scene? That's what I'm asking.
Maybe there was
Kevin Feige. Yeah.
Also, he posted it online like fucking months ago.
That's true.
What are they going to do? Show it twice?
Yeah.
I think I liked him. I really loved him and his valet. I think I really loved their kind of dynamic throughout it. It is kind of weird that he kind of semi-disappears at the end of the movie and then reappears for the final scenes, and it's kind of like no biggie.
Okay. It's a bit of a, like, is it good that he wasn't in the ending because I assume they couldn't figure out how to use him in the final act? Or should the final act have been longer because he was in it? You know?
Neither.
I don't know. I think
I've got my other take. I did not like the valet.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you got against Indian people?
I was really impartial on him until his saying goodbye moment, and then I got kind of choked up, and I was like, "Oh, fuck."
That was a nice moment, but in general, like, I thought Kumail's comedy was good, and I felt like the valet just pushed it a little bit into too silly, and I could have just used him being him without the whole valet thing. Especially because the amount of times he's like mentions him being a valet, it just sort of was like got weird. I don't know. I didn't ruin it. I'm just saying, like, I would have preferred without the valet. IMO.
You didn't enjoy them making the documentary about the Eternals?
No, I mean, he could have
all
done
that camera equipment getting destroyed.
I did appreciate the bit of the maybe for Dylan it just hit a bit too close to home because he too would have all those cameras once upon a time.
Once upon a time? You mean like now?
Well, I think the only thing for me is I feel like they could have spent maybe a tiny bit more time or found a way to spend more time demonstrating his loyalty to Icarus earlier in the movie because it kind of...
He told him he would be great as the leader of the Avengers. Should have said, can't you tell?
No,
they completely changed that from the trailer, right?
Yeah, because he disagrees or something.
No, they all laugh when he says it, so...
Yeah. But yeah, I would agree. His whole, like, suddenly he's like, oh, actually, I gotta, like, help Icarus, or, you know what, I can't do that, so I'm just gonna peace out. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't realize you felt so strongly.
Like, they built that up with Sprite, but they did not build that up with him. So I was like, okay.
No, the thing with Sprite makes sense, because they'd already had conversations about her loving him and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, speaking of Sprite, obviously played by McHugh, got Sprite who can project lifelike illusions. And is unfortunately stuck in the physical appearance of a 12-year-old child. Sad story. Good use of Disney property to bring up Peter Pan. I don't know if that's technically a Disney property, because it is a public domain book. But, yeah.
I thought she was good. Like, I really liked her character design. I appreciated her throughout the movie. Like, I felt kind of bad for her. How she like got taken out was just getting like smacked over the head with whatever it was by Druid. But I really liked her performance, especially leading up to that moment of how like kind of all of her emotions were building out and coming out. Part of me was thinking she was going with Icarus to betray him and like kind of be like I love
try
you,
and reason with him.
Yeah, try and reason him, and then eventually be like, hey, I love you, but no, stop doing this. Like, yeah, it's just I think, yeah, she does a good job for what she's given. Once again, though, she gets lost in the crowd a little bit throughout sections of the movie just because of the amount of people there are in the ensemble.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but I think it was all worthwhile for like the scene like of her explaining why she wants the world to be reset and stuff. So, you know. It turns out it was actually like Pinocchio in the end. She gets turned into a real girl.
I wish they had spent more time on this idea of why was I made like this? Like, same thing with, like, because that was the part of the Deviant storyline that I really fucking liked. Was that, you know, was like, well, I was thrown away and then you were created in my stead. And then, you know, the ongoing thing of that.
I mean, the crazy thing is, obviously, the Celestial knows the deviants are broken, and yet keeps throwing them at species, one after the other, knowing they're broken. Not deciding to fix them or come up with a different solution.
No, he just fixed, like... He just made, like, a Band-Aid. He is, like, the best... He's both created a problem and tried to create the solution for that problem. That's a businessman right there. That's no savior or fucking...
That's some big pharma shit. Alright.
Next minute they're going to be giving us cream for blue light from screens.
We'll say, disappointed, she never apologized for stabbing her. You know? She let her live in her house for however long, let her tell all these things to her boyfriend. You know? He just goes around and stabs her. In the back.
The stab mark completely disappeared. I'm guessing just from...
It's because of the world. The mind.
The brainstorm. It's way cooler.
The brainstorm,
yeah. Brainstorm was cool.
Yeah, brainstorm was good. Next up, Brian Tyree Henry as Fastos, who is the brains behind everything. You know?
Dude, the scene of him and Salma Hayek after Hiroshima, I was like, damn, this is the kind of stuff I want from these kind of people. Like, I've always been fascinated. I really enjoyed, like, the Percy Jackson books about how, like, the Greek gods have kind of changed over modern history and inverted. And I really liked that storyline, and I liked how it was used there for his storyline of wanting to help humans progress, but then once realizing what he'd helped create with that, how, like, instantly he just kind of went back into his shell and kind of shut the world out in so many ways. No, he just knew his shit. I appreciated him. I really liked the scene of him coming up with the combustion engine, like the steam engine, and then being like, there's a hoe instead. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, he's my second favorite character in the movie. He was like, I think between, again, like, he's someone who you get to see actually care about humans and want to do good, and you believe in him because of those scenes, like where he's breaking down crying and, you know, discussing about technology and then talking about the weapons later, and like he gets a lot of scenes that actually show him, like, in his gradual or his growth of care and understanding for humanity and all this sort of stuff. And then he's also just he's Marvel's first actual character that doesn't feel forced. That's like, if you want to compare him being being a gay man as with a kid and everything compared to whichever director of the two it was in Endgame, be like, well, I wanted to make sure there was a gay character, so I played one, and I mentioned my boyfriend, or, you know, like that whole weird, like, very, that, like, very, like, ham-fist force, just, like, obviously checkbox type scene, whereas this feels like an actual thought-out character being portrayed properly and, like, just seems very natural and whatever else. I know people will cry and they say, well, if it's natural, you wouldn't have to bring it up, but not really.
No, but
they don't really cross each other out. But.
It's good to have it visible, though. Like, it's a real positive to have this kind of thing visible. It's a real positive to have, like, the same thing as, like, having a disabled character with deafness, and right from the very, like, their introduction, having sign language involved immediately in their communication, showing it's just a natural thing. It's not a big thing, it's not made massively, it's just a natural part of the character and the people around her that I really appreciate.
Yeah. I really liked him as well. You know, he gets a good, like, you know, he takes out Icarus for the most part. You know? Beats him down.
Clips his wings.
Yeah.
You know what, I was nice because part of me was like, dude, it's going to be real predictable that
thank God he didn't say, this is for my table. Can you imagine?
Oh, God.
I feel like the comics that they get to fill in the gap between all the periods on his backstory is really going to be great, because, you know, I feel like there's such a jump. Obviously, you see him crying about Hiroshima, then he's got a family and he's super happy, you know? It's like, yeah, maybe just they just need a bit more time to flesh that out a little bit more and that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, this is one of the major
yeah,
problems. It's
it's
just
too long, but stuff needs to be fleshed out.
There's
really,
lots of cool characters in here. They just none of them get enough time.
this would have been like
have some cool things.
This would have been a really cool miniseries on Disney Plus, and then you could have like the final act as the movie. I don't know, but yeah. Next up, Lauren Ridloff as Makarai. Yeah, she's really good. Like cool super speed powers. She likes stealing stuff. She's like hoarding a bunch of stuff in the spaceship. Apparently, she's been left to look after that since they broke up or something. I don't know.
They didn't explain it. She was a good character, but she got the least to do out of all the Eternals. Like, in the last final fight, she did probably the best against Icarus in terms of just straight up starts walloping the crap out of him. And I thought her and Druid's relationship was really cute, and I really liked it, and I liked their chemistry on screen.
I think they built enough backstory in that one scene. It's like, yeah, I could see these two together.
And it then kind of felt. I was like, I would believe if Druid's probably been and visiting her in between where he was staying and stuff like that. I could at least believe that. Where others, it's like, no, there's
it's
no
probably the other way around. She can run really fast everywhere.
That is the point. Yes.
Yes, she was good. Yep, she was good. I mean, the character doesn't get barely any, well, if any, like actual development. But as like what the actress did with what she got, sure. But the character didn't get much anything.
No. Next film. Next up we got Barry Keoghan as Druid, the aloofed Eternal who can manipulate the minds of others. I mean, he's got some interesting ideas and floats different things about, like, I could just stop war, But then, doesn't really follow through on it. It turns out. But yeah, I thought I like Barry Keoghan, so, I mean, it was alright. He gets some snarky remarks and that kind of stuff, so.
You know that he was in Dunkirk, right?
Yeah.
He's like one of the main people in Dunkirk. And there's a scene where in that film they run inside this like boat or plane or whatever it was. It's on the beach. And then Harry Styles turns.
I don't know how that's
where'd he come from? What the hell? No, I really enjoy. I've seen him in a fair bit over the last couple of years. He's like been popping up in a lot of stuff, and I enjoy. I think he's a good actor. I think the character again had a lot of like very quick. They're like, I'm like, that's interesting. That's a cool, interesting direction for that character to take. He's going to walk off and start a cult, and then we don't really get to explore that at all. So it just feels like a waste of a character. Cool idea, good actor, not done well in the movie.
Yeah. Next up, we got Don Lee as Gilgamesh, the strongest Eternal with his like super celestial powered fists.
I appreciated him the most.
I'll tie this one in with Angelina Jolie as Athena, the elite warrior Eternal whose memory's gone or fucking up. Her robot programming is fucking
something
up.
About the wipe didn't work for her. She was left a bit too long and it didn't
eventually.
Work right. I really liked both of these characters, actually. I thought Angelina Jolie was surprisingly a lot better than I thought she was going to be. I was probably a little bit reserved with how she was going to buy into this world and buy into this character and acting in this part, but she does a really good job. Gilgamesh is easily one of my favorites of the Eternals. Also, I think it was, at least to me, and I guess this is just how my brain works when I'm watching movies, is sometimes this works too much, is as soon as it was a part of it that the creature was gaining their abilities, I think as soon as it was then pretty straightforward to work out that he was the one that was most likely going to die throughout this, at least if only one of the Eternal was going to die. But his time he did spend, I think, was really good, and I think his compassion and his chemistry with Angelina Jolie showed really well about, kind of making you believe the amount of time they had spent together, and his dedication to her, without kind of them going too far into, what kind of relationship it was. It seems it was, you could probably both view it as some kind of romantic relationship, but a platonic relationship. And I think it was done really well for both of them.
As someone who loves Train to Busan, yes, very good. I just don't feel like the character got much of anything, but I definitely enjoyed watching him, and he definitely brings that the same sort of vibe to the screen, fun sort of caring vibe that he actually brings to Train to Busan, because he's like sort of the heart of that movie as well by the end of it, and he plays similar-ish, I guess, to a degree character, so that's what I was thinking about watching this. And he gets a few funny bits and one-liners and stuff as well as looking tough, but we just don't get to explore his actual relationship with Angelina Jolie or anything at all. So again, it's just you have to sort of you're linking dots barely in the back of your mind to make this story for these characters work. Angelina Jolie is the worst person in this movie. I felt like she was sort of just cast because she's a big name or something like that. And I was all aboard the like, oh yeah, Angelina Jolie in an MCU movie. That's going to be really cool. I was looking forward to it. But I'm sure this is just how she was directed to play the role and everything. I'm not like blaming on her. I just think this whole stiff personality thing, she was the person I cared for least. I assume it's supposed to come off sort of like cool warrior chick, doesn't talk much, badass. She doesn't want to drink. She wants to walk off and fight and stuff like that. But I just didn't vibe with it. I was like, in a movie where there's already so many characters and the ones I care about, I don't get to spend any time with at all, and we don't get to explore. And now you're wanting me to care about a character who's like walking out of scenes. Like I've already got no scenes, and now they've got a character who doesn't even want to be in scenes. I'm like, no, I didn't care for her in this movie at all. She was definitely the person. She's right at the bottom of the list. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I think she was fine, We'll say Gilgamesh I really enjoyed, get some funny one-liners and that stuff. Got you kind of reminded me of like Wong from Doctor Strange, obviously being the wisest person in the room.
That's racist, Ash.
Might be. Sorry, Marvel. I think you've got a problem, Wise, smart Asian man.
It's probably why he got killed off.
Probably can't have too many.
Can't get these characters having people getting confused over these characters, guys.
No. But yeah, I think Angelina Jolie's character, dealing with the memory wipe and constantly being kind of a damsel in distress half the film, and then hopefully, assuming we're getting more, we get to. She kind of is past her issues,
Well, I think she was a lot looser in her final, the final main scene of the movie with Festus's kid, with child. I can't remember his name. I think it was Jason, I want to say. But I think she was a lot more. She wasn't as stiff during that scene as she was the rest of the movie. To try and maybe that portrays how she's kind of overcome somewhat of her disability or mental problems that were going on for her, and found a way to deal with those.
Absolutely. And then we have Salma Hayek as Ajax, the leader of the Eternals to start off with the ability to heal. She kind of serves her role perfectly fine. I don't know what else to say. There's a
you've done it. Yep.
She was there to introduce them and there to die real quickly.
She has like a motherly vibe to like she brings to the screen. Like so her moments on screen I do feel like are felt. But again,
you get that like illusion of her like dancing with Sprite, but again, more time. Maybe we'd care more. It's one of those issues. I guess last couple of characters, we got Kit Harington as Dane Whitman, who, if you've read the comics, is the Black Knight. Dun dun dun, which is why he's looking at a black sword towards the end. So yes, I thought he was, he's quite charming. He really wants Cersei to move in. Seems to be on board with all this eternal shit, and doesn't freak out. He's totally okay with it. And then he's left holding the bag at the end when she disappears. Yeah.
I was really disappointed that he didn't come along for any of the.
I thought that was going to be Think. He was going to come along.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come along and was going to have some sort of. He's going to be dealing with the love triangle as well as saving the world. I thought that was the direction the movie was headed in. But no, he literally just disappears until right at the end. And I thought Kit Harington was and Gemma Chan had generally good chemistry from the short time that we got to see them on screen, and I brought into it. But I mean, yeah, it's just where the fuck do you find time for that relationship in this smorgasbord of characters and shit? I mean, the movie already goes for 16 hours. I don't know how you even fit time in for this relationship.
Wow. Am I correct in guessing that was Doctor Strange's voice right at the end?
So is it? Because
no,
I haven't seen any confirmation.
I thought it sounded like it was somebody. I thought it was a much deeper voice than.
I mean, Doctor Strange makes the most sense from people we know.
Yeah. Here's what I'll tell you: whoever voice it was, it's someone we know. Because my brain definitely went. I know whose voice that is, but because it was one line done and it's at the cinema and I can't rewind it and the clip hasn't leaked online because the movie's not out in America yet or anything like that, I couldn't of course try and rewind it back. But it's 100% someone we know, and it was deeper. I reckon it could be Doctor Strange. Now that you've said that, I wouldn't go past that.
Makes sense because the deal behind the Dark Knight, as I was reading earlier this evening, is the source is cursed. The sword is cursed.
Is it the Black Knight?
Yes,
yeah.
Black Knight.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's the Black Knight.
You said the Dark Knight. That's
Did
Batman.
I really?
We're back to the DC.
You see, that's my problem.
That's
Is Dark Knight, Black Knight. So yeah, Doctor Strange could make sense if it's about dealing with the curse and everything. Yeah, is it? So is there already something slated for him? Is there already a movie or a TV show or something? Because I could feel that being a TV show rather than a movie.
Nothing announced as of yet, but Disney Plus Day is coming up. I don't know. That could be a thing. I don't know. I'll definitely watch it. I liked Kit Harington in this movie. I like Kit Harington in general. Black Knight, I didn't know anything about until I was playing HeroClix years ago, and I got a minifig for that character, and then I had to be like, who the fuck is this? What? I didn't know who that was.
Don't just HeroClix, super nerdy.
What, HeroClix? Good shit. I used to play HeroClix weekly. Go in. Good shit. Still got all my HeroClix. But yeah, I didn't know who that character was until then. But it's literally just a knight for anyone who's I'm sure the character will look different if he transforms and all that sort of stuff in this, but in the comics, it's literally just a knight. So we'll see how we go. But I would say Disney Plus would be a good fit for a Black Knight series. I'd be about it.
All right.
Also, before I forget, the dude next to me, these two motherfuckers who think they're the nerdiest of nerds, and they've got they're cracking the codes. Every time when these after credit scenes are sitting on, they're like, "Is this?" It's just they're shouting out things, and I'm I'm not really gonna get annoyed because it's after credits. I'm whatever. I'm not gonna be shut the fuck up or whatever. But as he opens a thing, one of them goes, "It's adamantium."
What?
Get out! Get out!
It's adamantium.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh boy, this is the Wolverine lead-in that we've all been waiting for, boys. The Black Knight.
Yeah, I don't want to assume anything because there was a girl there and they could just be been friends, but it was two dudes and a girl, and I was like, "Wow, is this are they having a nerd off competition to impress this girl?" It's adamantium. I'm like, "You're wrong." What?
All right. And I guess the other character who's introduced in this film was Star Fox.
Well, the other two. There was two characters.
There was Pip the Troll and Star Fox, or Eros, played by Harry Styles. 2 questions. Did you get this spoiled for you guys? Because obviously this was the news story that came out from the world premiere that Harry Styles was in the film.
Of course I did. Karen didn't.
No, I didn't. Fuck no way I did.
So I knew as well beforehand. And second question, how many high-pitched squeals were there when...
A lot.
A couple.
A lot. The entire... I didn't realize there must have been a group of girls like in the middle of the cinema, but boy did I hear them when this happened. Because his face didn't even make it on screen. He appeared, he said something, so I assume they realized it's his voice. So then
I assume they read the spoilers and they
yeah, and then
they went to this movie specifically to see this 10 seconds of Harry Styles on screen.
Like it's going off, they're like, and then like they're still going and goes quiet for a little bit, and then like he steps out of the shadow. I was like, I really did not think the fandom was still that.
It's still going strong.
I think Harry Styles is probably maybe the
singular,
the singular, the kind of remnant of that.
I love the idea of Harry Styles fans or One Direction fans or whatever, like being so hardcore in 2021, nearly 2022, that they're like, they give a fuck about Marvel. They go watch this movie, which is like a very long, dense movie, like as far as like MCU things go, just to get to that after credit scene because they saw someone on Facebook in their Harry Styles is the hottest guy ever Facebook group or whatever these things are called, post that he's in this movie and they brought tickets just to go for this. Adds up.
It does. Yeah, I guess it's kind of interesting. Apparently he's an Eternal as well.
Because Thanos is like part deviant or whatever.
It just raises a bunch of questions.
Like, it's something
mostly
that, like, is a
how.
thing. Yeah, this is all like them. This is the problem with MCU sometimes. Like there's like things in the comics that the movies choose to ignore, but then all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, no, we're including that now. So then they have to do a lot of like backwards legwork to make it all.
Eternals in the
make
comics
sense.
is like it's got nothing to do with them being created by the Celestials or whatever. I don't know. I don't believe anyway. I believe there were humans that fled Earth to Titan, which is the seventh moon of Saturn, and got superpowers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Harry Styles, I guess, is going to be in Eternals too.
The god of mischief. I mean, what?
The god of womanizing.
Who voiced Pip?
I don't know.
It sounded familiar. I was almost close to it being like a Seth Rogen or something like that.
I wanted to say Patton Oswalt.
Yes, also
good choice.
close.
I haven't seen anywhere online from my very quick search a name listed for Pip, so
definitely no one on IMDb as of recording.
So we'll find out soon. Dylan, what's the most marvelous moment of the Eternals?
Fuck, I always forget this is
happens every time.
It happens every time. Like, fuck, what is the marvelous moment? What's the most marvelous moment? What is the most marvelous moment? I'm gonna say I'm just gonna go with Actually, I've got two. No, fuck it. I'm just gonna go with the whole house scene with can I just pick that entire scene when they go? Oh, what's that character's name? I forgot.
Gilgamesh, the Gilgamesh house scene.
No. Old mate with
Brian Tyree Henry's character.
Yeah. What's the character's name? I don't know. Anyway, that character, that whole scene. God, that.
Festus.
Festus.
It's Festus. Festus, because it's that some of them they're all supposed to be like all their names are close to god
Gods
names
stuff,
that we have
Greek gods
throughout history, not just Greek.
I wish they'd said their names more.
Yes,
I'm gonna go with that though because I thought I felt like I actually brought into that whole thing and it felt like very real and it was even good with it had some funny. It had funny heart everything like the payoff at the end where his husband or partner did they say they was married? I don't know. Anyway, he like comes out and says like you need to do it and kisses the kid goodbye and I felt like that was a heartfelt moment for that character.
Ciaran, what's the most marvelous moment?
Oh, Jay. It's really weird that you can't even just look at the final scene and be like, this is the most marvelous moment because, and you know what? I actually think, and this is probably a really dark marvelous moment, but I really liked the Icarus reveal scene in terms of taking Ajax to Alaska and revealing that for her at least, revealing that the deviants were alive, and just kind of that whole almost very, Hail to the King kind of moment where pushing her off the cliff.
This is deviance. Boom.
But yeah, I would say that moment.
Yeah.
That
Can I
and
change
slash,
mine?
sorry. That slash, I'm going to slash mine really quickly, slash. I can't remember the valet's actual name, but him saying goodbye, I thought was like a real cool kind of moment of kind of the viewpoint of humanity, and he's having his moment of, well, it looks like I'm going to die, so see ya.
Dylan, what's your...
I'm changing mine to when they fucked. Yeah, bro. When they fucked. When they got down, bro.
Fuck's sake.
This Marvel movie for adults now, bro.
Damn, I'm going to take my kids to this Marvel movie and
Oh no!
Look
it's
away,
sex.
kids! Look away! Give her a massage, kids. It's fine.
I'll say the killing of the Celestial.
Really?
I think like a visually it looks really cool. I think like perspectives of there's pretty much on his hand. Like in my mind for a long period of the film, I'm like, why does she just make a giant hole for him to come out of? She's got those powers to adjust like water and rock and stuff. Just make a hole and then fill it in. At least you can save like half the planet, right? But yeah, I think that looks really good. I also like the team working out that Icarus is a bad guy. Them not taking it well. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of small moments throughout the film. I don't think there's none of the fights are super memorable or anything. Like there's moments within them, but yeah, there's no bus sequence from Shang-Chi or anything. So, anything else you guys want to talk about from the film?
I jumped it a number of times throughout this movie just because of the sound design. Even just the fucking sprite getting smacked over the head with the stone, I was like, holy crap, because just the sound effects behind it were just... There was that one, that was where Icarus got plucked out of the freaking middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the caveman dying. I was like, damn, this is all kind of crazy.
So, I looked up after, it was my fun little tidbit for... Because I really thought... I was thinking the music was good throughout the movie, but then it was the one piece that starts playing during the end of the movie when the fight scene's on and stuff. I thought that was a really good piece that was happening there. And it clicked as I was thinking that during that scene, because I was also getting bored. But I was like, I actually don't know who the composer is for this. So I looked it up as soon as I left. And it's Raman Djawadi, I think is how you say
I think so.
their name. But the interesting tidbit for that is I was like, oh, because automatically... The funny little tidbit for that, if you don't know who that person is they're probably most famous for doing the music for Game of Thrones. If you want to add someone else from Game of Thrones to this cast of stuff here, just a little funny little tidbit. They also did the music for Westworld and stuff. So, but yeah, good sound, good original score. And if you didn't think they just hired everyone from Game of Thrones for this movie, they did, including the composer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we've covered most stuff. It's even though we've barely covered anything, it's
it feels kind of...
I was gonna say my closing thoughts is cool. There's some really good characters groundwork in here. There are some really great Marvel firsts within here. I know a lot of people are definitely going to be speaking as the movie starts coming out. Definitely a lot of the Marvel firsts in this and the characters and representation. People are going to be speaking about that, and I do think that stuff's really good. However, as much as I like that stuff and like some of the characters and think the groundwork's laid down really well, I don't think this is a good movie. I think this movie is a mess, and this is coming. And I'm not even being this is also, because I know some people are going to hate on this because already seen it. People are already downloading the movie before they can even watch it, simply because they didn't like Nomadland and they didn't like the idea of Chloe Zhao doing this. I really liked Chloe Zhao. I really like Nomadland, so it's nothing to do with that.
Why don't they like Nomadland?
Oh, there's all these people, it's boring, propaganda, all this, like that. There's like that crowd of stuff, the people who thought it was, so then they were like, oh, why is this person who's done this like boring movie about an old lady traveling across the country directing the Marvel movie? Anyway,
Now we know.
You know how people go.
Now we know.
Yep.
Because it was a long movie. It felt like would have been improved by an old lady traveling across. Kind of going off that, obviously this is not reviewed well. It's currently sitting at a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the lowest scored Marvel movie.
That shocks me because I thought Thor 2 would be the lowest.
Well, Thor was originally the lowest. Thor and I can't remember the other. I think Thor and Age of Ultron were the previous two lowest reviewed.
Well, it's probably just, more people have watched this than to watch that, so.
I think flicking through them, I think there is very much a difference. Sadly, with people already feeling a bit mad, say us feeling a bit flat about this movie, there's also the people piling on top of that are, reviewing this, well, generally, middle-aged white men reviewing this movie poorly because of its diversity and saying it's woke and that it's too forced. I hope it does level out and gets a bit higher because I don't think it deserves to be that low. But at the end of the day, it's Rotten Tomatoes. There's so many other examples of movies that have ridiculously low reviewer scores or high reviewer scores and then low public scores. So,
Sorry, I already did a draft for a review. I don't know if I'll finish it, but I was like waiting for us to record this, obviously, so I was just like kicking it around. So I may publish that and may also be part of the problem because I will not be giving this a high score. But
the thing is, right, I don't think you're part of the problem.
It's fine because we're not going to be on Rotten Tomatoes, so.
Okay.
Also true.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. What if I go back and add my old reviews on there?
I think they have to accept us is the problem. Okay, but
we are eternal.
I guess the big question, are you looking forward to potential Eternals 2 and what do you want from Eternals 2?
Fuck no.
Really?
No. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some of these characters and other things. Do I want another Eternals movie of this many characters where it's too many characters for one movie?
Well,
there's no way to fix this.
There's a lot less characters now. And there's a lot of the bullshit exposition's been kind of taken, like already been done, so they don't have to do that again. I just fucking brain farted and forgot what I was about to say.
If you can get it down to 3 or 4, kind of like the Guardians core cast level, like 3, 4, 5 or something, then sure. But if you're gonna do a sequel that also then introduces new Eternals and new cast members to make sure that the movie always has like a big cast, then no, I'm not going to be excited for it. I'm excited to see some of these characters again, hopefully in other things, but I'm not excited about a sequel to Eternals.
So, just thought of it. So, this is a random thing and nothing to do with looking forward to the Eternals 2 or whatever, but it's just a random thought that I was brewing and I forgot. It's a bit weird that I can't remember what the god's name is off the top of my head. Harish? Ari? Aramat?
Arashi?
Oh, I can't. It's a god name. But how he made the Eternals supposedly without the ability to evolve, so that he wouldn't have the problems that he had with the Deviants.
Yeah, but he screwed up with those the first time. So I mean,
but but he gave them free will. Like, he gave these, like, the ability to, like, just think for themselves and develop for themselves. It's like, okay.
See?
How has this not happened before?
I mean, the implication is it has happened before. That's why Thanos is a thing.
Yeah. Can I also note just how wild it is when this movie started, and it just, like, started with those 3 paragraphs or whatever of text.
It's like a freaking Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I was like, this is crazy. What am I watching right now? It's a Marvel movie. Like, I'm thinking like I'm reading this. Yeah. I'm like, this is intense. I'm thinking about the 10-year-old kid I passed on my way and going, you're fucked. Like, what are you? This is some deep like sci-fi shit that's happening right now. The mum's probably like,
cover his eyes.
Arisham created the man, and Adam and Eve. Like, I was like, what is going on?
Wow. Yeah, it was kind of jarring to have that sequence and the opening sequence, and then the Marvel logo thing comes on. It's like bunch of superheroes.
I had the trailer for Dune play prior to the movie as well, which I can only assume that movie surely opens with a bunch of text.
Yeah. I'm keen for Eternals 2. I would assume is going to be the crew in the spaceship trying to save the people who got abducted. Would be the crux of the movie. I don't mind if they like introduced a few more characters and that kind of stuff. I think as long as you've got like solid two, I assume it'll be split team kind of dual story kind of thing going forward.
How would you feel if the Eternals ran into the Guardians of the Galaxy in Volume 3?
I don't think that's James Gunn plan, so I don't think it'll happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they show up post-credits. Like Star Fox walks through a bar and is like hitting on Gamora. And then...
Because I think Star Fox is the only character tonally that, like...
Fits that? Yeah.
Fits the Guardians kind of style. The rest of them might be just a tad too...
Serious? Yeah. I guess we'll see. Alright. Let us know what you thought of Eternals by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to a Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth it all, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Alright, so next week we kick off our Spider-Man rewatch. We'll be watching the Sam Raimi trilogy and the Mark Webb duology of films in the lead up to Far From Home. So that starts 12th of November. Of course, we'll be back talking about the next MCU film, Far From Home, 16th of December. There shouldn't be nothing changes. And then we'll be kicking off with our Hawkeye watch-along starting November 24th. So, lots more all new Marvel cast to come. So make sure you watch all of that and join us next time for another all new Marvel cast.